Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gassy Jack Gear Reviews. I have a bit of a comparison for you today. I've been doing a few little videos. I shouldn't say little; they've run on a bit long, but it's because I like to talk. A few comparison videos between a watch that I just got, which is the Rolex Submariner reference 114060, against several other watches. You can see my channel. I've done one against the SKX. I've done one against the Seiko Sumo. I'll do one against the Seiko Turtle as well. And now I have one against the Omega Speedmaster Professional. Customary wristwatch check. Got the Casio F91W, the most prolific watch in the world. What is that, about a $15 watch Canadian? I'm in Canada here in Ontario. I think it's about 10 bucks. I've heard as low as like $9. I think the battery would cost you more to replace than it would to get the new watch. But it does the job. It's, like I said, it's one of those... It's just so prolific. You have to have it. Have to have it. It gets a lot of wrist time too. Anyway, so to start this off, why don't we just talk a little bit about the size of the watches. If you look at the Omega Professional on the left-hand side here, it is a 42 millimeter, and compared with the 40 millimeter Rolex Submariner. If you look at these two watches, I will be honest, like off camera, they don't look like they're even much different. Maybe it looks maybe 1 millimeter bigger. It's 2 millimeters bigger, and that is without the crowns. The height, or the lug to lug width, is very, very similar. On the Omega Speedmaster Professional, it is 49 millimeters from lug to lug. On the Rolex, it is 48 from lug to lug. Okay. Let me see, the height. There is a difference there. The height on the Rolex is 12.5, and that's from the sapphire glass to the case back. On the Omega Speedmaster Professional, it is 14.3 millimeters thick. And I think that's, a lot of that's due anyway, it's due to the crystal. This is an acrylic crystal. They call that Heslite. It's acrylic. Okay. They got lots of names for it throughout the industry. It's all the same. It's acrylic. Okay. And this is a sapphire crystal. So if we get these, let me see. Now I have these really crappy light system, but for anyone that knows anything about crystals, you sort of have a few different types. You have mineral glass, which is your standard, kind of crappy glass, scratches, shatters, and then you have your Heslite, or whatever plexi, whatever you want to call it, and it's plastic, and it doesn't shatter nearly as much, but it scratches the worst, okay? But one of the benefits of it is that it can be polished out very easily. There's something called Polywatch. It's a cream. You put it on, you rub it in. You can just use a lint-free cloth, and it will polish scratches out, okay? So that's one of the major benefits. So it's not shatterproof, but it doesn't shatter very easily, and it scratches easily, but the scratches can be buffed out very easily. Sapphire glass is, for all intents and purposes, it is scratch proof, but it will shatter. And I'm going to say that it probably will shatter more easily than Heslite, plexi, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So there's benefits to both. The movement, okay, this is a manual wind movement. So I had this wound up yesterday. It's still running. Let me see here. I'll wind it up all the way. It's a 48-hour power reserve on this one, and it's also a 48-hour power reserve on this movement. This movement, okay, is an automatic movement. This is a mechanical. For anyone who doesn't know, mechanical means that you need to wind this every 48 hours or less, okay? Because in 48 hours, this watch is going to stop, okay? Because that's the the amount of time you can get out of it. Whereas this one here is automatic, which means it has a rotor in it. Okay, the rotor swings and winds it up as you wear it, and you can also hand wind it. Okay, I can pull this out. I'd have to unscrew this crown and start winding it. It's got the trip lock system in there, so it's a very secure crown once you've screwed it down. This one does not have a screw down crown. Okay, and it is not hacking. If I pull this out, it does. Let me pull this out here. Hard to do with gloves. There we go. See the seconds there? They're continuing because it's not hacking. I'll pop it back in there. It's a chronograph system, okay? Start the chronograph, stop it, reset it. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about that because I have a full review on this watch. Both 48-hour power reserves, Heslite crystal versus sapphire crystal. Chronograph, no chronograph. Neither of these have dates. Okay. I prefer a watch without a date, I'll be honest, because we all carry cell phones, and to be honest, I mean, who really does actually need a watch for time? Most people don't. They're tools, but they're jewelry as well. That's a whole other discussion. Why do people even wear watches these days? And if you look at watch prices, they're more expensive than they ever have been. So go figure. So I think it's more of a fashion statement, jewelry, than it is anything. But it's kind of cool. You have this little machine. And if you've ever looked at a watch movement, and neither of these have exhibition case backs, this movement, you can get this watch with, it's called the sapphire sandwich, so it has a sapphire crystal on the top and an exhibition sapphire case back. That movement is actually quite beautiful when you look at it. When I say beautiful, it's not refined like the like some watches out there. Like you look at A. Lange & Söhne and some watches, Patek, and those watches are just phenomenally finished. I mean, they are just exquisite works of art. If you look at this watch, and I think there's a comparison video out there between this movement and I think it might be an A. Lange & Söhne watch. And if you see them and from it, from a foot away, you go, oh, they're very, very similar. Oh, nice finishing. You get a microscope on them or a magnifying glass, and there's a world of difference. These are finished nice, okay? Way nicer than Rolex. It's a much more beautiful movement than Rolex. But when you put it against a high horology watch like an A. Lange & Söhne or a Patek, no, it was a Patek I think that they compared it with. It was Patek chronograph. There is no comparison. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's always that question: are they worth that much money? Like, if you look at a Patek, is it worth that much money? Well, they retain their value. I mean, a Patek retains its value more than most watches. And when you look at it, you look and you're like, wow, that's a watch you pass down for generation upon generation upon generation upon generation. And they even have a slogan. Patek has a slogan, something to the effect of, you don't own a Patek, you're merely, you look after it for the next generation, or something like that. And I think it's kind of true. I mean, but God, they're expensive. They're way out of my league. Unless I won the lottery, I'm not going to be owning a Patek of, a higher end Patek anyway. But these are kind of, these are in my price range as far as pushing the limits. It hurts when I buy these. Okay, don't get me wrong. It hurts. It's not like my Seikos where I go, oh, I bought another Seiko. Oh, awesome, I love it. And I do love my Seikos, but they don't hurt. There are Seikos that can hurt. Your Grand Seikos can hurt. Your Marine Master hurts a bit. These hurt me as much as I can possibly be hurt, if you know what I mean. Like if I bought a A. Lange & Söhne or a Patek, I'm gonna die. Okay, this one I can lick my wounds with these ones and recover in a few months. Okay, with those other with high horology watches, I cannot. I gotta stay in my lane. You know, I forget who said that. It was, you gotta stay in your lane. I think it was Kevin Hart or something like that. And he was talking about he went out with his buddy. He was like, he thought he was rich, and he went out with his buddy that was way richer. And he goes, "I gotta stay in my lane," and it is true. You don't put yourself in the poorhouse. I never spend I never spend money on anything, whether it be motorcycles, firearms, anything, until I have put away what I've determined and calculated that will make me comfortable in retirement. And I have a great pension as well. So I don't. And one of my pieces of advice with watch buying, don't put watches or anything, any luxury item above your family, above your retirement. Okay, this is extra. Okay. The movement, this beats the Omega beats at 21,600 beats per hour. This one is what's 28 something 28,000. Is it 28,000 or 28,000 something? I should have done a little more research. I just got this watch. You gotta kind of forgive me. I wasn't buying this. I was buying it in a few months, and I heard that they were, there was some scare that they were stopping production of sports watches, which is probably BS. So I put it on order. It came in like a week and a half. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm buying it earlier than later. That's fine. So I don't know a ton about the movement. It's a 3130 movement. It's like I said, it's 28,000 something beats per hour. I know the Omega is 21,600 beats per hour. It's the Omega. It's called the 1861 movement. In this particular, it's based on the Lemania movement. And this one, like I said, is the in-house 3130 movement. Both 48-hour power reserves. No dates on either of them. The bracelets. If you look at the Rolex bracelet, it is very, very, people go, oh, there's nothing to it. It's not even polished at all. It's not. It's brushed, but it's very, very, very fine brushing. The brushing's awesome. Let me see. Okay, the brushing is flawless on the Rolex. Okay, the brushing is very good, better than most on the Omega. Okay, let's see. But let me see if I got any scratches. Yeah, I got little micro scratches you can kind of see there. I'm not getting rid of this watch. I'm passing this watch down. You can see little micro scratches. But it has a little bit of polishing, okay, which is nice on those center links, the edges of the center links, whereas this one doesn't. Let me see if I can go over some more dimensions here. They do both have a 20 millimeter bracelet. And you'll hear from my other videos, I prefer 20 millimeter bracelets over larger bracelets. I have some watches that have 22 millimeter bracelets. Same with the Sumo. It's a 20 millimeter bracelet as well. And some people complain and say, oh, the Sumo is such a big watch, it should have a 22 millimeter bracelet. I disagree. I think that a 20 millimeter bracelet is much more comfortable. And let's be honest, 20 millimeters of steel ain't going anywhere. You're not going to bust it. Okay, so it's 22 or 20. You're not going to, the one's no better than the other as far as strength goes. I mean, they are. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're not going to bust a 20 over a 22. So let's get real there. They both have screw-in links. See that? Screw-in links, which is nice. You can see how, let's see this. Take a look at the links. You can see how the Rolex links are curved. Well, when they wrap around, those curves make it more comfortable. Whereas here, you can see the shape of them. This is a comfortable watch, no problem, without a doubt. But you can see Those are almost like little ovals. Well, they are, right? So they'll do the job, okay, and it's comfortable, but you can see how Rolex thought about that and said, if we make them curved, okay, when they actually go around, it's going to be that much more comfortable. And it is. It's a phenomenal watch. There's no doubt about it. If you ask me, is this watch, the Rolex, is it worth, in US dollars, I think it's what, $7,500? Is it worth $7,500? Like for what you're getting? Then I would say no. But that's what it cost. And that's what people are worth. That's what people are willing to pay for it. So that's what it's worth. It's that plain and simple. Anything in the world, it's only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And people are willing to pay for it, so that is what it goes for. Okay? Now, one of the reasons, in my opinion, is that it's worth that much, like that's why people are willing to pay for it, is because they tend to hold their value much more than most watches. And actually, both these brands, Omega and Rolex, Omega even more so. Rolex even more so. They hold their value. In fact, when you buy a new watch from a dealer, they tend to dip down in value like a new car. But with a new car, they tend to continue to go down in value, except for some cars. You could get, the last naturally aspirated Porsche 911, which was last year. I think that car was probably going to go up in value. A buddy of mine has that stunning car. But most cars go down in value. These watches will take their hit from initially, if you buy them new, they're going to take their hit, but then over time, they're going to go up in value. Okay. This one, much more than this one. Okay. And that's why I think it is, if you can afford to buy quality items, then buy quality items. So if you go, I can only afford, in my lifetime to spend $7,500 on all of my watches, then save your pennies and get a $7,500 watch than buying 10 $750 watches. Because those 10 $750 watches are probably not going to be worth $750 altogether in 30 years. Whereas the $7,500 watch will probably be worth substantially more than that in 30 years. If you look at prices of watches, I saw this one chart from 1993 to 2017, and a lot of these watches had tripled, quadrupled, or more from 93 to 2017. And the Rolex Submariner was no exception. It has increased in value substantially. So I don't mind putting money into things that do keep their value or increase in value. So let me see here. I think we went over the lug width, the case width, the height. The steel is 316L steel, which is your standard steel in most every watch out there for the Omega. The 904L proprietary steel in the Rolex. That is about all I'm going to cover with these watches here. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you have anything that you want to chime in the comments, please do. If you've seen any of my reviews and you want to see any watches head to head against each other, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm happy to oblige. Anyway, it's been another Gassy Jack gear review. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you do subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.